What is up? I'm Daren, and sometimes go as D Lake, your host of Master of Some, the internet's most exciting health and fitness podcast. We show you how to perform better as you get older in health, fitness, endurance sports, and life. And we do all of that through podcast conversations and stories. So, you might be asking yourself, Daren, why should I keep listening? If you want to be a better athlete and an all-around dope person, this podcast might be for you. Focusing on training my daily health and fitness practice has created frameworks. I've applied these wellness frameworks to habits in other areas of my life. It's been a complete game changer, so we love to share them with you. And we don't take ourselves too seriously by having a bit of fun while we're doing this. A bit of housekeeping. Number one, please note this podcast was recorded, edited, and published in Sydney, Australia. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land this was created on. I would also like to pay my respects to elders past, present, and future. Number two, this show is accessible and has a transcription. Please go to the show notes or masterofsomepod.com/show notes to find the transcription for this episode. Number three, back to that fun thing. A language warning before we start. We sometimes cuss, curse, and use bad words. Please be mindful of where you're listening to this episode and who you're with. This series is officially called Podblog, but you might hear it referred to as a whole bunch of other things like blogisode or something else. Basically, we take blog posts and articles and turn them into, yes, you guessed it, podcasts. It's pretty literal, but I think there's something cool about repurposing the written word to audio and vice versa. What do you think? If you base your fitness goals on what other people around you are doing, you might be missing out on some amazing shit in life. I like to reason and set my goals based on first principle, or what I call my discovery process. The concept is to break down complex problems or goals into basic elements. Then you can reassemble them from the ground up. It's a great way to learn to plan for your own personalized health and fitness objectives. In the process, you might even unlock hidden creative potential and move from linear to nonlinear results and success. So moving forward, anytime you hear the word discovery process, I'm actually saying reasoning by first principles and not analogy, but discovery process sounds way cooler.
Soft Cell.
This episode is brought to you by MOS COACH, MOS, Master of Some. Oh yeah, that's us. We show you as you get older how to perform better in health, fitness, wellness, endurance sports, and life. It's our one-on-one coaching service that is based around the same principles of this podcast. Like it or not, we are getting older. Whether you're 16 or 60, each day you are aging. Having the right habits and mindset in place will ensure you are always getting better than the day before. Our NLP, that stands for Neuro-Linguistic Program, trained coaching background allows us to practice what we preach by living this meta-ass life. Email us, talk@dlakecreates.com to book a free consultation call today.
Let's just jump into it. So this is a
Blogisode.
episode
Blog post.
soda casta
Podisode.
casta soda.
Cast blood. Cast.
Jesus.
Blogisode. Oh, that's gross. I don't like that. I don't even like saying blog. So I like a post, a podcast, and a moving picture. So
Yeah, blogisodes are not very fun formative.
Oh, wow. Side jab.
Just throwing shade already.
Yeah, so this one is titled WTF is my discovery process. So what the fuck is my discovery process? And it starts off with a cool quote by Henry Poincaré. I don't know how to say that in French, but
Neither do I.
he's a French mathematician. He says, "It is by logic that we prove, but by intuition that we discover." It just sounds so fitting for the start of what the fuck my discovery process is. So my discovery process, if you don't know, I relate to this in a lot of things.
So what is a discovery process before you get into your discovery process?
I don't know. I should have Googled this beforehand. I feel like I've done that before where I've defined the thing that I'm about to talk about. And
Yeah.
I just didn't want to do this on this one because the reason why is because I've been saying this for the past maybe 3 years as I've been writing a blog post and talking to people and helping people with their health and fitness journeys. And I always go my discovery process.
Yeah.
And I base it off of part 1 is research. Part 2 is experts. Part 3 is my own experience.
Yep.
So I've actually found out, without actually researching, just reading a shit ton, that actually is a discovery process. That's curiosity, which I'll get into towards the end of this.
Okay.
What I do is I anchor my discovery process to a lot of things. So rather than saying, this is actually how I use it, whenever I'm about to give people advice,
Mm-hmm.
written or spoken, I always say, based on my discovery process.
Okay.
So that's almost like a asterisk. There was actually some type of evidence behind it, and also I actually did it myself.
Okay.
So rather than saying those three things, I just go my discovery process based on my discovery process.
Okay.
So it's like a wording, but it's like anyone else.
Yeah.
So a lot of people just say, you should do this.
Yeah, but I've done some research. It's shorthand for.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's shorthand for I've done my research, 1. I've talked with experts, 2.
Yeah.
And I have experience doing it, 3.
Yeah,
Because
cool.
a lot of people talk out their ass and go, you should do this. And I
Yes.
go, based on what? They're like, oh, I read a thing. And I'm like, it's not even science. You read someone else's thing on someone else's thing on someone else's thing. So that's what bothers me.
Somebody who's like 200 kilos telling you how to lose weight.
I'm not going to go there. But you went there.
I just went, well, no, that's an example of somebody who's not.
Walking the talk, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, this is pretty self-explanatory. You could go read the blog post. It's over at the link in the show notes. So yeah, evidence-based research. And that should be self-explanatory, but to be honest, it's just scientific journals, a research example that I put in there. I read a lot about this, and which was my minimal training marathon hypothesis,
Uh-huh.
which the whole blog post is based around that. And I knew that my 5K and 10K time was saying that I should be able to do a 245, 250 marathon if I trained for it. I then said I should then be able to do a 3-hour, sub 3-hour, 259,
Sure.
you know, without training for it specifically. So that was where I got my research from.
Just on that, you said research papers, etc. Do you have a criteria or a method for sorting the wheat from the chaff when it comes to your like research sources?
Great question. I always try to see something linked to an NCBI or a minimum Mayo Clinic or something with like validity that's been peer reviewed.
Yeah.
So if it's some men's health bullshit article or pop sugar, if they have some NCBI and I can actually read it,
Yeah.
then I go, okay, cool. Rather than usually journalists' interpretation of scientific papers like chocolate makes you healthy.
Yeah.
And then they go, eat all the milk. No. Dark chocolate, in certain amounts, will give you 1% possibly higher life expectancy. Like
On some metric of some like the one thing they measured in the
Exactly. So a lot of people, it's what is it? Science cherry picking, as a lot of
Yes.
journalists they reword it to be clickbaity.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this, you probably know that because we're just gonna assume that you're really smart.
Yeah.
I'm just reaffirming that all the stuff that you know with this.
Yeah.
I like to contact experts in my network. That's number 2. And this one is more like you're a great example. Were you in the blog post? Yes. Phil Cross, who is an NLP certified
Yes.
endurance coach. Boom. I probably got that title wrong because it's probably changed, but
I did
performance, right? Performance.
I do whatever. Sure.
But yeah, I consulted and confided in you, and you give me great advice because you're an expert. You have certification. You also read the papers. You also have done a lot of things. So I like to talk to people around me.
Sure.
And then there's the third, which is my own experience. And this is huge because I feel like Ben Greenfield, I'm going to give him props on this. In his intro PDF that he sends you, the ethical giveaway or whatever, the ethical bribe, it actually started off with, he starts off with his degree. And I'm like, I roll my eyes everywhere. I have a degree in this. I'm a fucking expert because I have a degree in this. And I'm like, fuck you wrong. Fuck your degree. You were just able to regurgitate back shit that you read. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Most degrees. And I'm anti-school system if you didn't know. But he says, I have a degree, blah, blah. He says he coaches people. The third one he goes, and third and most importantly, I've done this. And I'm like, rather than people
And
that
he is a
flip it-
beast.
He is. He
He's
absolutely is a
he's
beast.
complete beast. Yeah.
He documents everything. He's a beast. And I really love that he put third and most importantly, he did it. Because it really is. So many people read shit. Like, they read shit and go, oh, yeah, I'm an expert. I'm like, have you done it? Oh, no. They read shit on starting businesses. I'm an entrepreneur. All these random things. And it's, have you actually applied that thing that you read? No, because you're scared. Fuck you. I don't care if you have a fucking PhD,
Yeah.
3 PhDs in this thing. If you haven't done it, I don't trust you.
Yeah.
So that's my rant on it. I'm gonna digress and end this blogisode.
I thought that was a strong blogisode.
Anything
No, I just like that it's a blogisode now. I like that I inflicted that on the world.
All right, so make sure you go out and read that in the link. Go there, and there's a cool article. Check the show notes. Yeah, I like writing because I'm an extrovert. Sorry, and that allows me to communicate in a very clear and concise way to people my random thoughts.
Extrovert or introvert?
I'm an introvert.
I thought you said extrovert then.
I stuffed up and said I'm in. But please go read that and watch the video and subscribe to my email list. Yeah, much love, everyone.
Transition. Like what you're hearing? Want to train and live consistently to do dope shit with your health and fitness? Sign up for our newsletter now, 3 Thing Thursday.
1, 2, 3.
Go to masterofsomepod.com/email. We'll put 3 perfectly created and curated things in your inbox. These things will be regular motivation and inspiration, ranging from tips, tricks, tools, tactics, and skills. And they all revolve around being a better human in endurance sport and wellness. Sign up now to receive my quick guide on how to get healthy, stay fit, and use data to create habits that last a lifetime. That's masterofsomepod.com/email, spelled the normal way, to be inspired and motivated on the regular. Don't worry if you didn't get any of that, there's links in the show notes. As always, we appreciate you listening. Our goal is to show the world how to live better through health and fitness. If you like this episode, we'd highly appreciate if you can go on whatever app you listen to and make sure to subscribe or follow Master of Some Health podcast. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon, Acast, and a bunch others. And if you're feeling extra saucy, a rating, review, or share of this episode to anyone you know that would be into something like this would be amazing. The more people that hear about us, the doper stuff we can do to then help other people. And if that cycle continues forever, we would always be grateful to you. If you have any questions, concerns, suggestions for episodes, or hell, if you want to be on the show, hit us up. The best way is to email talk@dlatecreates.com. We're also on the socials, mainly Instagram @dlatecreates. Or you can hit us up wherever you can find us. Last, this episode of music was created and produced by Podpaste and myself. So if you like any of the music, you can add it to your device playlist by going to masterofsomepod.com/music. Don't worry if you didn't get all that. There's a link in the show notes description. Thank you again so much for listening. Peace.
Just